Okay, I wanted to start off with what they were obsessed with yesterday. They're obsessed with my hair. So on this strand, I think, let's see if I can find it right here. Can you guys see that? I have like a strand of hair attached to a strand of hair. So they said, we can see every minute, that's quoting them, we can see every minute detail on you. We can also see when you change your underwear, which I'm saying is a crime. So they tried to clean this up and say that it's related to Catholic school. Worrying about my body is not related to Catholic school. These are a bunch of criminals who wanted me to start to sue people. They said we have to make this connected to Catholic school. If it's connected to Catholic school, then they can make it connected to Catholic school. They don't need me to connect it to Catholic school. That's how criminal they are. They said we have to sue River Bay. We have to do this. I'm going to sue everyone involved because I have the right to, but they don't, especially if they didn't go to Catholic school with me. So the people involved that I know definitely didn't go to all the same Catholic school. So here's this little thing that was in my hair. So they were obsessed with that. So this was about trying to find a way to drag me into them suing people, because I guess there's something wrong with them being able to just sue people. Why can't they sue people on their own? Why do they need me? But that's another point. So the interpretation of the day is we have to. You notice that the vocabulary they use is always like, that's what manipulative people, we have to, we need, we must, because it's supposed to make us feel like there's some sort of like, I can't think of how to phrase it, but there's something like, we must, we have to, this has to be done, this got to be done, because it's designed to make us have that emotion of, like that. So they don't want me to be able to speak, but fortunately today I can speak and I must speak. So you notice how I say I must do something as opposed to we must, we have to. That's because part of that vocabulary is designed to get people confused, sucked in. It's a manipulative vocabulary. So when I'm telling, they're trying to equate everything they do to me because they said they need a way of defending themselves, because I guess they have legal issues and they said a way of arguing things. So they found out that I have a Regents diploma and they wanted to equate it to them. And then they said, well, the Regents diploma is too hard to get. I don't understand how one thing has anything to do with the other. So that's another thing I'm going to say. They make connections where there aren't any connections, and that's part of what they said. They said we must stay united, or what was it? We must connect or something. We must not connect, okay? There was no connection. If there's no connect, we cannot stay connected. And that's my point. They thought I was going to come up with something like witty. I'm not coming up with anything witty. No, if there's no connection, you can't connect when there was no connection. And that's my point. There's this sense about them that they want to create some sort of artificial connection. So they said, well, we have black guys doing this for us, as though like, okay, so that you're not black then. I mean, like, I'm just making that connection. If you say you have black guys doing it, then you are not black. And that was my point initially. So I'm just trying to get this all out there while I can, because I can tell how manipulative people operate. They operate this way where we must, we have. Let me tell you something. If someone said we have a black woman named Shamega, I would say you do not have me. That's how I would handle it. I would not let somebody say they have. No, you don't. So they said, oh, years ago, we told you something. Let me tell you something. If you're digging up people from years ago, then you don't have me. That's my point. And we must not connect, and we must not do anything together. So I'm going down the list. I always like to give you guys a bonus, but I want to do a quick review. The first thing is when these people come up with, we must, we have to, run. They're manipulators and they're trying to get you worked up. Second, when they say we have to connect this to Catholic school, we have to sue River Bay, we have to, we want to move people into your apartment. Ain't happening. Let me just take this moment to ask you guys to please buy something from my eBay account, which is BargainBusterBin. I need the support. I don't want to get evicted. I'm waiting for disability. That's another thing. You notice how like I have my own actual problems and they're creating this fantasy world where they are involved in my life. But again, this was what they wanted. They wanted to take this apartment. They wanted to bring someone in here so that they can, squat, where you don't move out. You let someone stay with you and then they never leave. And then they could use the succession rights once they drive me nuts. So they said today, what they did, they planned on having someone come in here, move stuff around so that they wouldn't have to break in and do it. But because I didn't fall for that scam, they had to do it when I left the apartment and then come in and do all of this. So I'm telling you guys everything. The other part, oh, they just made a noise because they agree I am telling you everything. The other thing is that I know I'm not the only victim of these people. Please. And that's another thing. They're like, why don't you say please anymore? You used to always say please. I thought they said I was some bitch who was beating up on people. I'm starting fights. That's how they are. I told you, they're like Sybil. 1 minute, you're so great. Oh my God. They have that look in their eyes like, oh, you're the best thing I've ever met. Then the minute something goes wrong, they switch on you so fast, you don't even know. You can't even see it coming. It's not even a gradual sort of thing. It's like, whoa, wait. Oh, because I didn't do what you wanted me to do. I didn't fall for the manipulation. And that's my point. So they said I would be scared to talk about these things. Not only am I not scared to talk about these things, but I have receipts. I'm doing it publicly. And that's my point. I feel like at this stage in my life, if I don't say this, there are going to be other people who fall for these things. And they say, oh, you always, that's another phrase. You always, you never, it's always that sort of thing. Well, they said I always fall for scams. Well, if I always fall for scams, then I better tell the world what the scams are, why I fell for it, and tell the world everything that I can think of about that scam. This is part of the scam. So the other part about this is that they said, well, by talking to me, they're showing the world they're invading my privacy. They know when my body is going through my menstrual cycle, when I'm ovulating. They wanted me to have a baby for gay men. Again, it's like, what? What? So you notice how like there's always something attached to it. It's not like, oh, well, we're worried about your hair because you had like a strand of something on it. No, we wanted to make your YouTube channel our YouTube channel. So again, it wasn't like, oh, we're worried about you ovulating. We wanted to find men for you to have sex with and have children for them. Well, wait, what? What? Don't they have like people who do that? You're going to have like a 49-year-old suddenly, it's always a scam. So they say, aren't you afraid you're going to offend people? No, the people who have common sense will not be offended by me not wanting to have a baby for not just gay people, but for any people. I think we've passed the point where I would have to have a baby for any specific group. That's part of my rights as a person. So you notice how every scam seems to be attached to them trying to be manipulative and say, don't you want to take in, kids, foster kids? It's always like that. It's always that little that most people would not do. It's so manipulative. Wouldn't you want to help, gay men who can't have babies? No. It's that. So I think, just like I said, I'm offended by it. I think people who that would apply to would be offended by it also. It's not only just manipulative, it's a scam. It's a way of making people feel like they must do something they don't want to do. And they said that's part of the psychological assessment they made of me, that I'm somebody who will do something I don't want to do to help people. Isn't that very manipulative? That's my point. This is a manipulative group of people. The last point I want to make about that is that they said that in college, I was helping somebody who was suicidal. And yes, I did. And they said that person was doing it to take advantage of me. I don't think so. I think that person was really coming from a place of difficulty. And I know what that feels like, because when I was going coming from a place of difficulty, I started this YouTube channel and started chronicling it. Would I want somebody to years later, now I say years later, I graduated from college in 1995. So we're talking about almost 30 years ago. Would I want someone 30 years later to say, look at my YouTube channel and say, oh, maybe she's manipulating people? No, I'm not manipulating people. You can actually tell the truth, and people can tell that what I'm saying is true. But that's my point. That's how manipulative people work. They work. You know what I mean? Like, that's the word I should have used. I had another video that I was trying to explain what manipulative people are like. They work really hard. I said they try hard, but they work at it. They like work at trying to manipulate you. It's never easy. It's never like, hey, we're just hanging out. I tell people I'm from the Bronx. I'm from New York. In New York and the Bronx, we have that moment where we're just like hanging out with somebody. We just relax and we let our guards down. That's how you know a native New Yorker, because we can be like this, but then we can relax and let our guards down. These manipulative people, they don't let their guards down. They're always working at it. They're always working it. Like they're always, it's that, you know what I mean? It's that thing where you can tell they're always working. And that's what makes them dangerous and manipulative, because they're the people in this world who are always working. They're working you over. They're trying to come up with the next scam. They're trying to come up with another way to get you. And they're upset. I'm telling everything. And I have to tell, because that's part of this setup. So they said, well, aren't you upset that we're invading your privacy? We're doing it. Yes. But I'm also happy that in invading my privacy, we're talking about my menstrual cycle and a strand of hair. I mean, that's as deep as this is getting. All their other lies backfired. And that's my point. They're like, oh, you should continue to use whatever this crap is that I use on my hair because they like my hair like this. I don't care. I don't care about their opinion. But I also want you to see how they said what they do is they target your scalp with their device. It causes the hair follicle to expand and contract. And when it expands, it makes your hair fall out. So I wanted to show you, you see how so that's part of how the hair is falling out. I'm running my hands through my hair and look, the strands are coming out. And normally they don't do that. You see that? So that's exactly what they do. So you see how I'm going like this? And every time I do this, a strand comes out. Here's another strand. You see that? So that's part of this. That's how you know this is happening to you. Here's another strand. You see that? So every time I pass my hands through my hair and a strand comes out, I know this is it. I know that's what they're doing. You see? So I would always have strands. Here's another one. I would always have strands like this because they do it intentionally. So that's my point. Will I drive myself nuts about it? No, I'm not going to. So on my Twitter account, I put up some more pictures so that the truth can come out. And they said we're very embarrassed. They said they get, well, I'm quoting them. They said we get highly embarrassed. And you notice how they tend to use phrases like that. Like, we don't normally say we get highly embarrassed. What does highly embarrassed mean to us? I don't really get it. It's like a weird phrase that they use. So that's why I said I don't think they're native English speakers. I don't think that's their main language. So they get embarrassed, they said, when they're corrected or when they're wrong. So clearly, I'm going to keep doing this, where I wait for them to make up a lie or a story, and then I come up with some proof. The last thing I want to say is they talked about a girl. Again, it seems to be they're obsessed with women in our relationships. And the girl and I, we were having some sort of disagreement. This would have been like in 1991. So what are we talking about? 32 years ago. So 32 years ago, we were having a disagreement, and then we started hugging, and we kind of liked each other again. I don't know if we liked each other or didn't like each other again, but I think we were hugging and we became friendly or something. Again, 32 years ago, it's a long time ago. And so they wanted to use that like, oh, this, you always have these issues. Okay, so what? You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares? Who cares? What year are we in? Are we in the 1990s again? No, we're in 2023. And that's my point with these folks. As I talk about this and normal people say, who cares? Why do these people care? Because it's a way of manipulating me. It's a way of saying, oh, I'm so difficult to be with that we're going to have to try to be with you. We're going to try to have to manipulate you. And that's my point. There's got to be a way for these people to understand that if I'm the difficult person they say I am, they should get out of my life. I don't want them. They said this is something in New York State. Well, then I'll leave New York State. Anything to get away from these people. I will leave New York State just to get away from these people. I never want to see these people in my life ever again. Thanks for watching.